So if you haven't watched Lazarus yet, let me give you a quick breakdown. This Prime Video series was created by Harlan, Coben, and Daniel Brocklehurst, and it follows Joel Lazarus, a forensic psychiatrist who gets trapped in this insane web of mysteries. At the center of it all, the death of his father, Jonathan Dr. L. Lazarus, who was this renowned psychologist. Joel starts getting suspicious about not just his father's death, but also the deaths of his father's patients. So he decides to take matters into his own hands and investigate. But here's the thing. The discoveries he makes, they leave him way more rattled than satisfied. Before you know it, the whole story shifts into this deep exploration of Joel's tormented psyche. There's this traumatic event from his past that's affecting not just his present, but his entire family's lives too. And by the season finale, this psychological thriller drops a massive bomb. The murderer is actually Jonathan himself. But trust me, the story is far from over. Will there be a season 2? Now, here's what everyone wants to know. Is there going to be a second season? As of right now, there's been no official word on whether the show is continuing. But if we're looking at the best case scenario here, fans could potentially see a sequel hitting their screens sometime around 2027 to 2028. That jaw-dropping cliffhanger. Here's the wild part. Even though Lazarus was greenlit as a limited series, it ends with this absolutely jaw-dropping cliffhanger. And there are enough loose ends left dangling to definitely carry on into a potential second season. So what happens? Laura suddenly disappears. And then we see Aidan, who was her last on-screen patient, holding a bloody sickle. I mean, that's pretty much a direct hint that he could be a murderer, right? But it gets even darker. When they discover that Margot McIntyre was also killed with a sickle, it starts looking like Aidan might actually be a serial killer on the loose. So right there, the story has not one, but 2 mysteries that are completely unsolved even after the credits roll. Joel's mental health crisis. But wait, there's more. Joel's mental health is also a huge question mark at this point. There are these audio tapes that Jenna listens to, and they reveal something pretty disturbing. Joel basically reimagined all those therapy sessions with the dead patients. But here's the kicker. He has absolutely no recollection of ever listening to those recordings in the first place. So there's this very real possibility that Joel's psychological troubles could take an even more twisted form in the future, which would definitely affect all his relationships. A potential sequel could really step deeper into the psychological depths of not just Joel, but all the characters around him, with even more mysteries to enrich the story. Limited series or multi-season show. Now, it's totally possible that the creative team behind Lazarus threw in that ending twist just to gauge how interested the audience is in seeing more of this story. But honestly, the way it ties into the larger thematic structure makes it feel like Joel and Aidan's character arcs have a lot more left to explore. The big obstacle here is that limited series tag. It definitely makes the show's future a lot more ambiguous. I mean, it's pretty uncommon for limited series to get multiple seasons. But here's the thing. There have been some major exceptions to that rule. Shows like The White Lotus, Shogun, and Beef all started as limited series before becoming multi-season ventures. And what do all those shows have in common? They were massively popular. So if there's significant demand from the audience, Lazarus could definitely find itself in those same ranks. Exploring the sins of the father. Let's talk about what a potential season 2 could actually explore. The main mystery, the deaths of Jonathan Lazarus and his patients, gets wrapped up pretty satisfactorily by the final episode. But there's this one key takeaway from Dr. L's speech about the sins of the father. He mentions this idea that sons often grow up to mimic, if not straight up emulate, their fathers. And that adds this really grim shadow to Joel's potential trajectory. Joel promises to break free of what seems like a toxic curse and carve out his own identity. But it looks like fate has some more twisted plans in store. And here's where it gets really interesting. The confirmation that Aidan is actually Joel's biological son adds him into this cycle too. It places his possible homicidal streak into the larger thematic structure of the show. The thing is, there's no clear answer yet as to whether Aidan is actually a murderer or if this is all just misdirection, which makes the continuation of the story feel all the more important. Character arcs and family dynamics. A potential sequel could also extend the individual character arcs, with Joel's mental troubles taking center stage. Think about it. His conversations with his father's dead patients basically served as this pseudo-therapeutic measure for him. So now that the case is solved, he's left feeling emptier and more abandoned than ever. In circumstances like these, family becomes so much more important. A possible season 2 might delve way deeper into the lives of Jenna and Seth, giving us more attention to their dynamic with Joel. Laura's disappearance and romance. And then there's Laura's disappearance, which leaves this potential love story just hanging there. Joel finally found someone who actually understands him without judgment. So the show's continuation could really explore how someone can break free of their traumatic past and actually move on with their lives. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this.